Hey guys, what's up? Welcome once again to P.I.A. Pillars in Action Podcast. I'm here with my boy Adelu once again. We're here for part 2, so please listen very, very closely and enjoy it. Enjoy it. Welcome back, brother. What are you saying?
I'm blessed, bro. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, quarantine has us very humble right now.
Quarantine has you locked up, eh?
Locked up, like I was a puppet. But yeah, man, when you were here last time, we were having a lot of fun actually. I know you really enjoyed it. Got to know a lot about you. People got to hear your testimony, hear your side of the story, and hear, where you've came from, and how far you've come, from being a 16-year-old 10th grader to a 23-year-old man, right? So we just want to kind of continue. Got some more questions that we want to kind of go through, but just talk to us about. Just pull this question up here. Right, you've seen a lot. Off of you being saved and being on these streets, witnessing and spreading the good news of the gospel. So talk to us. Do you feel that there is a resistance when it comes to serving God?
Do I feel like there's a resistance when it comes to serving God? From my experience of outreaching and being in church, from what I can see, I think definitely within the younger individuals in our youth and our categories, maybe like 16 to 20.
Right.
As of lately, I think there definitely is a reservation to being a Christian.
So when you say that, obviously there's a reason for these individuals. You said younger, the younger individuals, guys around our age, and sometimes even younger, and they could also be older too. But when you say that, why do you think there's such a resistance, right, when it comes to serving God? Why don't people want to serve God?
I think definitely it's honestly, just to be completely honest with you, it's not the thing that's in. It's not something that when you go to school and you see the person who's preaching, or you see a pastor, it's not something that's a lot of the time is well represented on social media,
right,
or on TV. When you turn on the news and you hear talk about Christians, it's always negative. When you scroll Instagram, it's a bunch of memes, or it could be something making fun of a pastor. Not a lot of the times on these platforms do you see people actually preaching the gospel or giving advice, or being able to edify other people through what they're talking about,
right,
in terms of Christianity.
You know what, it's so true, because I find that when it comes to Christianity, it's so misinformed, right? I find that you see on social media, right, you see people posting all these videos about how they feel church is, and you hear people talking about Christians, how pastors are stealing money, they just want your money, or churches are fake, and you hear all these things, and there's a lot of people that hear that and they believe it. Right, and that honestly, sometimes that could be the farthest from the truth. Yes, there are a small percentage of pastors who might be crooked, or there are a small percentage of people who claim to be Christians that might be crooked and do wicked things, but that's not everybody. right? And that's not Christianity as a whole. I just feel that some people are misinformed, and because they're misinformed, they rather not trust it, rather not believe it, and they just put Christianity as a whole, right, under a blanket, right, and they just leave it covered.
Exactly.
I know you've had so many conversations with people on outreach, whether it's in North York, Etobicoke, Mississauga, wherever it is, York University, wherever it is. You talk to people sometimes, and you could just sense, right, that they've heard or they've seen videos of or heard stories of a pastor doing this or heard stories of a church doing this to somebody, and then they think automatically that all churches are like that, right? And it's sad, right? It sucks because that's not the case at all. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So it's basically like an unpopular opinion in school when you bring up something that has to do with Christ, right? When I went to York, when I was there, I think I was there from 2016. I was there to 2017. I noticed that as me being a Christian, me going to class and wanting to represent that was actually very, very hard. Because for one, you're up against your mates, your schoolmates who don't believe, and you're up against the ones that are supposed to be guiding you, your teachers, and they don't believe.
Right.
And so when you're in this classroom now, you could feel like, or you're in this environment, you feel like, wow, there's so much people, there's so much talk about, this is what's right, and religiousness is wrong, and this and that. And so what happens is a lot of the times people's beliefs end up being formed, or how do you say it, people's views end up changing through this situation. And the main thing is because of the actual people being, to be honest with you, influenced by these teachers, by their schoolmates, by people around who don't want religiousness or to hear about the gospel. And so it's a very big thing, because when I was there, I almost felt like I couldn't express myself as a Christian. And a lot of the times, whenever those conversations would come up, I would shy away. But looking back, that's actually the time when I probably should have spoke the most.
Right.
That's the time when I should have been like, yeah, well, this is what I believe, and this is what is right. And so a lot of the times, I think that whether it's a Christian or even non-believers, the way of the world influences their belief systems and practices, and it causes them to be stronger in one belief and weaker to another belief.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like what you just said, I find that in this world, and I know other people see it also, that right, if you claim Christianity, you claim Jesus as your Lord and Savior, the world will do everything in its power to put a muzzle over your mouth like you were a pit bull. You know what I mean? They don't want you to bark.
It is.
Right? They do not want to hear no noise from you at all.
It's
right. True. And it's especially, like you said, especially in colleges and universities, and more so at work. I remember I was working somewhere. It's when I first started in the cable industry, and I was working with a small business, and we were doing a job in Bradford, and so we went to Bradford, and we're having lunch now, and I'm in the cafeteria, and these guys are having a conversation, right? And Christ came up, and I'm a Christian, right? So as soon as Jesus came up, I'm like, man, I'm obligated. I gotta do this. So I opened my mouth, right?
Yeah.
And I said my piece. I don't remember what I said, right? But I said something, and those guys looked at me, right? And the look was like, "Yo, you better shut up right now, you Christian boy." And instantly inside of me, I was like, maybe I, you know what, shouldn't be speaking. But right there, that's the muzzle that the world tries to put on you. It's like, oh, you're talking about Jesus, we don't want to hear that, right? We don't talk about Jesus over here.
Exactly. So I feel like as what happens as a Christian is you start to, at times you compromise. So now you're no longer wanting to talk. You're gonna shy away from those conversations, or when those conversations come up, you might not say anything, or better yet, you're going to go and you're gonna talk about other stuff, right? And so what happens is now you have it's no longer like you're not able to really freely express yourself as you feel like you can as a Christian. And that's what happens when you're radical as a Christian. You know, they want to shut you up. They don't want to hear you. They don't want to see you. And eventually they'll start to hate you.
Right. It's true. It's true. So, that's why I really commend, Christians who stand for what they believe, regardless of what, the world might say. Right, because the world is going to attack you, the world's going to slaughter you, and they're going to attempt to slaughter your character, right? But, stand firm to what you believe in, stand firm for Jesus Christ, right? And just give him your all. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you another question. So, here's the question, right? Let's say someone... let's say an individual was having a hard time. They're debating in their mind, should I get saved? Should I give my life to Christ? What would your advice be to that individual, or to an individual like that?
I definitely have experienced those on outreach, especially. And a lot of times what I will say is that, as they're contemplating, I always ask them, what do you really have to lose? It's a gamble, right? For you to say that tomorrow I can do this, and tomorrow I'm going to do that, or the next week, or the next month, because you do not know what can happen. And that's just the truth. Yep. We hear it a lot.
Yeah.
But, it's always, it really is, the reality is that you don't know if tomorrow's going to come. You don't know if the next day's going to come. So it's like you're taking a gamble. So a lot of times I tell them, look, there's really nothing you can lose by tasting and seeing. Right? The Bible says, taste and see that the Lord is good. And the truth is, a lot of the times I think what stops them is that very thing that we talked about previously. But a lot of the times, if we're able to overcome the pressures of the world and say, look, I'm going to make my own decision, I'm going to make a stand for God, then in one, it will produce something in you that is going to live it through.
Right.
You're going to live it through in your work. You're going to live it through whenever you're doing anything. You're going to live it through, and you're going to make a stand and say, I'm going to serve God.
Yes.
And I remember when I did that, when I really myself said, now is the time. I really seriously said, this is going to change my life, and I'm going to do it. And from then on, I honestly felt that there was a change, and there was a satisfaction from doing that I never felt from Christianity prior to that.
Amen. There's been a lot of unrest and a lot of craziness going around in the world. It's like 2020 is kind of a very, very crazy year. Dealing with COVID and people having to stay home and all of that. But latest thing that has the world going crazy is the brutal, very sad death of George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very sad. When I saw the video myself, I was very saddened by it. It really stirred up some emotions inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much what I wanted to ask is that what are your thoughts about the George Floyd situation and what's going on in the world right now because of that?
It's a tragedy. I mean, words can never really put into effect what it really, how the family feels, how it affects other people. I personally found out about it a little bit later, but I heard about something that happened 2 weeks ago,
Right.
and it was very similar. So it's just really it's honestly very, very sad. And from a Christian perspective, I have to take into consideration, being black and being a Christian and how I feel, right? Going out into the world and, eventually wanting to have kids, you're gonna have kids and you're gonna want them to be able to walk the street. Want them to be able to go to the store. You're gonna want them to be able to do normal activities day to day. You don't want to have to worry about, oh, is he gonna get stopped by the police, or is there a possibility that he's going to be murdered viciously? Like this man was murdered.
Right.
I saw a lot of hate in the actions of that police officer. I think the intention of the officer has to be questioned, and that's one thing that I still am struggling with. Is the fact that people intend or think that they're doing something justly, but they are actually doing the opposite. And so that shows me that I think there's really honestly an issue with people in power positions. There's definitely, we already know that, and when you get down to the root of it, it's sin. So I definitely felt very, very sad about the whole situation, but we have to also put into consideration the other black men, the other people who were murdered and executed from before Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery, and we're hearing about another man, and this has been going on for years. So I mean, I've definitely been thinking about what are the solutions to this? How do we make progression from this, so that our future, our kids, and even us as blacks and black people, how do we go about this and help the situation? And so that's definitely that's been my opinion. That's my approach to it, and I just hope we're able to kind of do something in that regard.
Amen. Bro, I gotta be honest with you. When I first saw that clip, I actually texted this to one of my friends. It stirred up some very unhealthy emotions inside of me.
Right.
Instantly when I saw that clip, it was like, whoa, like it's, my flesh rose up, like, yo, I can't believe what I'm seeing now.
Right there. Yeah.
And obviously I didn't flesh out. I didn't go out and I didn't riot. I didn't break anything, break windows, go loot, burn down houses and businesses. And if those are the intentions of some of the people out there to do that because of what happened to George Floyd, it's totally wrong. I do not believe in that, and I do not support that at all. That is totally wrong, and you should really, really be ashamed of yourself if that's what you're doing. But back to what I was saying, it really bothered me, and what I really came to realize, just like what you just said, it is a sin. It's a sin issue, and above that, right? There's a lot of people, right? What I was saying recently that are fighting other people. They're looting, they're burning down businesses, and they're turning this battle into a flesh and blood battle.
Right.
Right. They're going after flesh and blood. They're going after what's physical.
Right.
Right. Yeah. But really and truly, this is a spiritual battle. We're fighting something spiritual.
For sure.
Right. And it's not something that we can solve by by stealing, by fighting, or by hating another type of people. But this is something that we could only solve right through Jesus Christ. I've learned, right, that there's a lot of issues in the world. There's a lot of things that go on, right? Racism, murder, rape. There's a lot of disgusting, terrible things that go on in the world that are not in the headlines right now because of George Floyd, and the reason for all of these things is sin, and the only remedy, the only cure for sin is in Jesus Christ. So I mean, I really encourage people, right, to turn to Jesus Christ, turn away from your sin, turn away from your wickedness. If you're upset at the world, right, turn to Jesus, because you're just going to continue to be upset at the world. You're going to continue to find a reason to be angry and to be in your sin. Turn to Jesus and he will heal you. Exactly. Right? I'm really praying for the family of George Floyd and all those who were affected by that. Even other black people, other white people who are affected by it. There's a lot of people who are affected by this. Latinos, Chinese, right? They're really affected by this because not only, I mean, yes, okay, George Floyd was black, but he was human. There's some people that are looking at this like, that was a human man. That was a man. That was a father, right? That was a child. That was someone's child, right? That was someone's uncle. You know what I mean? That was someone's nephew. And people are looking at that like, wow, how could someone do that to a human being, right? And it really hurts. But, the good thing is that we can see change from this. And I really commend those who are choosing to go the right way with this and to protest peacefully. And I just really hope that we see change and that that people are blessed. And we've reached the end of this podcast. Thank you guys for listening once again. Thank you, my boy Adelu. We did it. Yes, we got through it.
BB rules out.
Yeah, BB. That's what we do, man. We get through everything. But thank you, man, for coming out and being a part of this. I really hope that your words bless people, and that people can learn from this. I've definitely learned from what you've said, and we're gonna continue to pray, continue to keep people in our prayers. Hope that everyone's staying safe. Hope that everyone is staying safe right now. Where we're kind of getting through the last couple of phases of COVID. So hopefully we can see each other soon in church, and that we can worship together once again. I really, really miss being around with the brethren. So hopefully we can do that. And just want to give one last shout out to all you that are listening to this podcast, right? Continue to listen, and I hope to bring you more content. I don't know when, but hopefully it can happen soon. But that being said, thank you for listening. P.I.A. podcast, Pillars in Action. That's what it stands for, if you're wondering. But again, thank you for listening. My boy Adelu, thank you. And we signing out.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I have to get used to this stuff, bro. I don't really know what I'm doing.
YouTube life, like, right?
Bro. I just watch stuff. I ain't never do stuff. But anyways, thank you guys once again. Stay safe.